Welcome, welcome, welcome to another issue of Wellness Wednesdays with Jessica and Tonya, the Joy and Pain Girls. We are here live on a Wednesday for Wellness Wednesdays, coming to you live from Vancouver and British Columbia, living on the edge.
So, ooh, I like that.
Everyone doing there tonight, watching this on the replay, because, well, hopefully you'll join us soon, but in case you don't, and you're watching us in the replay, you're missing an amazing show tonight, because we are going to talk about decision making. And we are going to dive into the decision making matrix. And I learned this during amazing sessions with the Healthy Habits Lifestyle Challenge with the amazing Jessica Coulthard, which I'm a part of, and I am so glad I became a part of it. And you know what? It's a journey that I chose to be on because life is all about choices. So it is the best 90-day amazing learning opportunity that I've ever engaged on. Mm-hmm. And I have had many learning opportunities in my life, you know, as I'm sure many of you have. When you sign up for courses or you sign up for workshops, do it, because it's something that no one can ever take away from you. You know, you buy a car, it depreciates. You buy a computer, it depreciates. You buy a house, it can appreciate, but with the market, sometimes that depreciates too. But the thing is, no one can repossess your mind. And that's what I love. When you invest in yourself and learning, beautiful. So what do you have to say about that, Jess, about learning and investing in yourself? I think that's great. So Jess, I'll turn it over to you to give some thoughts about that today on Wellness Wednesday.
Yeah, I really like what you said about you can't repossess your mind, right? You know, one of the things that I like to say is you need to be the gatekeeper of your mind, right? Because too often we fall prey to what comes at us. And, you know, what happens is, like you say, so go and invest in a course, like make the effort to go and find the information that's actually going to be useful to you, put you in a better state of mind, a better state of health, and just soak that up. But don't just soak it up. Like one of the things that I'm learning through this program that you and I are part of is, as me being the one leading it right now, I'm going through everything that I'm teaching. Right? Like before I come on, I'm putting myself through the program as well as I create it for you guys as we go. And it's amazing. Like even for myself, it's like, I know this stuff, but knowing and applying it are so completely different. And so for myself, like, yeah, sure, I could write it all out and make it great and, you know, whatever. But if I wasn't actually going through it myself, I wouldn't be getting anything out of it. But because I'm choosing, like you say, choice, we have choices. I'm choosing to do the work myself as well, so that I can, well, for many reasons, but you know, and it's paying off for me, even though I already knew this. This is not like something I've just learned and now I'm just regurgitating for you guys. Like this is stuff I already know, but I'm choosing to apply it for myself as well as I teach it. And that's what I find too often doesn't happen. Like beginning of this year, late December, I made the conscious decision that I was going to start investing and applying the knowledge that I was seeking on me. Because as coaches, you and I both know that, and we're both very growth-oriented people, that we're knowledge seekers, we're sponges, we're always looking for more and cool and interesting. But I find that I'm just getting knowledge almost for the sake of the knowledge, right? At the beginning of this year, like I said, late December, I made the conscious decision to focus it on me, take the information for me, not to be able to use with my clients and whatnot. And holy shit, my life is changing. Like it's like the third week of March, and the things that have happened in my life since then are incredible because I'm applying it. And I think that's the missing piece for a lot of people, is they listen and they take it all in, but they don't do anything with that information. So yeah, that's what I have to say on that subject.
Beautiful. So, like you said, applying that knowledge, we already take walking, for example. We all know how to walk. But when you have chronic pain, you have to learn how to walk differently. To not be in pain, sometimes you have to learn to go from, like in my case, a wheelchair to a walker. How do you walk properly in a walker and not hurt your shoulders and not hurt your hips and not having orthotics, for example, or having good walking shoes, if not orthotics? How do you adjust the level on the walker so that it balances you at a proper angle, like with a physiotherapist or an occupational therapist or someone else who assists you with measuring those things? It's learning a different skill and a tool to make things work for you in your new environment. Of course, we know how to put one foot in front of the other, watch out for uneven pavement. There's many parameters that we need to consider. Or say, get it transferring from a bed to the floor, or these different things. When we live differently in our body because of illness or chronic pain, we need to look at how can I do things differently to live a more productive life. The same thing applies to your mind. How can I think differently to live my best life? And the one statement that you have showed me how to do is it's that I am statement. Instead of saying, I am brilliant, my brain is going, I can show you many ways that you're not. Doesn't mean I'm not brilliant, but I'm in the process of becoming.
Or discovering your brilliance even.
Or discovering my brilliance.
Mm-hmm.
Or discovering, or I'm in one of the things I wake up every day. I'm in the process of becoming the best at my job that I do day to day. And I'll insert whatever occupation you do. If you volunteer, if you are a mom every day, you can say, I'm in the process of becoming the best mom today that I can be. Because we beat ourselves up, but that is a career, let me tell you. Whether you do paid or unpaid work, if your partner comes home and says, what did you do all day? Well, let me show you something. I challenge you to do this and have the house completely tidy and dinner made and kiss my entire butt. It might take you all day with the size of my butt, but you know what I mean? It's still work. It is still work. Whether you're paid, unpaid, volunteer, it's still work. When you live with illness or chronic pain, it's still work. So that mindset, whether you're working on your physical body or your mental body, changing that mindset is what I love that you've challenged me to do. That challenge, like you said, I forget where you posted it, your cup. I'm not in competition with anyone but myself.
Yes.
Right? I
Yes.
love that.
Yeah.
Because when you're competing with others, you'll never win. But as Matthew McConaughey said, I'm looking up to my future self. That is who I'm chasing.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of becoming better than that person I will be 10 years from now. I'm in the process of becoming better than I will be 10 minutes from now.
Mm-hmm.
Life is a gift. Let's unwrap it. That mental magic that you get me to engage in every week is beautiful. So I'll turn it over to you to talk about how we can mentally unpack that decision making. If you don't mind sharing with people, how can we look at decision making in a more productive way that's going to engage people to think more positively about the decisions they make? And why does it bother us when people say things that unnerve us?
Okay, now those are two very different subjects.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me take a moment and just give a scenario.
Okay.
Like I like to think of, if someone says something and it bothers me, the reason it bothers me sits with me, not them.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because it's bothering me because somewhere in my value system, I need to unpack why it bothers me. Because it shouldn't bother me if what they said is irrelevant to me. It bothers me because something they have said I need to examine within myself. Otherwise, it wouldn't bother me at all.
Yes.
So, in the sense of, I've often been seen as gullible, too nice, too friendly, and that can be misperceived as not having boundaries, not assertive enough, a pushover, someone where anyone can get their way. That's so not the way, because I will stand up for myself, but I'll only fight for things that matter. I don't waste my energy, my spoons, like we've been talking about in past weeks. Life is too short to sweat the small stuff. That's how I see things. And I go through a series in the morning of I'm too blessed to be stressed, too anointed to be disappointed.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you. But people don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets me somewhere in my psyche if someone says to me, you smile too much. You're the happy helper. You're too nice.
I'm sorry, we have to go back. Smile too much?
Yeah.
Okay. They really don't want to meet me then.
Bring the joy, girl. Has anyone out there ever, like, have you ever been accused of being too nice?
Oh, yeah.
So what does that bring up? So what it incites me to do is, should I dim my light when that happens? Or should I continue to be me? Or should I examine what do they really mean by that?
I want to jump in and say none of that, actually.
Okay.
Okay, so from an NLP perspective, we choose to take on some beliefs. They're called presuppositions. And presupposition means like presuppose, which means you're like it's a belief. Like I'm choosing to assume, presuppose. Do you know what I mean? It's like a belief that we choose to take on as an NLP practitioner. And for those of you listening, one of my favorite things to say is that if this doesn't completely align with you when I share this, you don't have to buy it. Just try it on for a little while. See how it fits. You may not like it. Fair enough. Everyone's entitled. But I just know for me personally that when I made the choice, because we're talking about choices, to see the world this way through this lens, it made my life much less stressful. So I'm going to share one of them with you in regards to this. So this particular presupposition is every behavior has a positive intention. And that is that's for every single person. So what I'd like to say about your situation, because we shared a little bit off camera, we're not going to go into much detail, but someone tells you you smile too much, it's not ever about you. Mm-hmm. It's about something inside of them that they're trying to protect or come to terms with in their own world from something that happened to them before they were 5 years old, 5, 6 years old. So somewhere in their childhood, somebody said something to them where they made a key decision where being too happy equals being a pushover or equals other people getting their way with you or some version of that. They've now hung on to that subconsciously. And when they see somebody who's acting in that way, they have a negative connotation to it. So it's not about you at all. So to answer your question, should I dim my light? I'm sorry, but fuck no, don't you dare. I will come and hurt you if you even attempt to dim your light. In fact, light that shit up. But I don't mean when I say that, I don't mean it in your face kind of way. Like I'm not suggesting to go and antagonize the situation, but I also would say we also need to learn who people are. And if this is somebody who is, let's just say, someone you need to work with, spend a lot of time with, maybe has some authority, maybe could potentially make your life difficult for 8 hours a day, I think the best thing to do, my opinion, would be to see that in this person, know who they are, and
Yeah.
maybe just try not to be overly joyed in their presence, right? Like I don't want you to dim your light, but I want you to know your audience and know the room. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Like I try to approach things with curiosity,
right.
right? And approach why, what context could
I don't
things be
even like
said in?
why. I don't even like why in
Yeah.
that we
Mm.
don't need to sit there and overanalyze, oh, and start poking questions and like, oh, I'm so sorry you had a horrible childhood and you weren't allowed to be like we don't need to go there. We don't
Can you
need
imagine that at work? Can
no,
you
like
imagine? No.
no, like
No.
it's to what end? To what end? The bottom, but honestly, draw the line at it's not about me. And actually, just like I'm really sorry that this person
And you're right.
feels that
Yeah.
that being happy in your own, like, oh my goodness, like how horrible is that to show up at work where most people are miserable and be happy? Oh my goodness, I'm a horrible person because I enjoy my job, right? Like, so I would just the end of this just needs to be it's not about me. And
Mm.
and just but don't, like I said, don't antagonize, don't, maybe just around that particular person, just turn it down a notch, just to get along,
Yes.
right? That would be my best opinion on that subject with the limited information that I have.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
So
Thing.
now I would love to hear how you feel about that. What resistance
I
maybe comes
do.
up to you for you with this or anything, right?
None, because
None.
I choose to take things always as constructive criticism.
Right.
Like not in this, I agree with you there. Don't dim my light. Shine and be that, right? And I agree with you. And always, I've always been the type of person as the glass is half full. Always, always, because that's how I think I get through pain, how I get through with resilience whenever I'm given negative news or told to change something. I still smile through it and I never hold on to it. So and I think that, even when you're given news from doctors, I always look for another way of how I could see through things or what could I do differently in any situation, whether it be with, okay, you say I've got to do this, how can I do this? As looking for alternatives to show up as a team player rather than an individual approach. And so I look at that with every aspect of my life, not just, one particular mode. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's working for me.
Yep.
Like, for example, this week we were challenged with decision making, and also with the, what will happen if you do this,
Yes.
So I went through that exercise of what can I do differently? And so using the different tools that we're learning in the program that you've developed, which is amazing, by the way.
Thank
So
you.
I hope that people watching this in the replay will sign up for the next program you have available, because like I was saying, there are a lot of programs out there. Make sure you attend information sessions to see if something is right for you. I will say that, because when you don't vet things, you can fall into traps of spending money that is not fitting for you. I've fallen into that as well, because you want to get better. You want to improve your business if you're an entrepreneur. You want to improve your life if you're a pain patient. The good thing about the conversations we have here, there is no cost. They're conversations. So people, please show up and have a conversation with us. Ask questions. We're here giving our time every single Wednesday to show up for you. That is not something that you have to deep dive into, but we share a lot of information at. So please show up on Wednesdays, because this is all about you and us, and we learn and grow together. This is important for us to do this. So yes, yes, yes. So being mindful about your day, being mindful about the decisions you make, being mindful about how you spend your time, and being mindful about how you spend your money, So you are not exhausting all your resources, which causes you more stress, which is increasing your pain, which is increasing your ability to show up for you and those you care about.
Absolutely.
So yeah, these are the things that is coming up for me this week when I'm thinking, how can I juggle all of these things and show up for me? So I've taken a lot off my plate and said, how can I scale back the things that aren't important? How can I continue to show up for the things that are? Because there's this really good book by Gabor Mate that's called When the Body Says No. And when you're doing too much and you're working too hard, your body will stop you in your tracks. I got a really bad migraine last week, and my body completely said no. And I spent 2 days with a migraine in my bed, in the dark, and my body said no. And that's the universe throwing a brick at me, saying, slow down, reevaluate, listen. And that slows you down and say, what is my body trying to tell me? I needed to go through the decision-making matrix. Where am I at? What is my body saying? Where am I supposed to be? And it's showing me all the time, recalibrating, saying, okay, I have only this much bandwidth. I can only do this much. Stop it.
So there's a really great quote that I heard. I can't remember who I heard it from, but like people always say, look, I'm trying to balance. I want life balance, work-life balance, blah, 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 whatever. And this quote really helped me understand that that's just, it's almost an unattainable goal. And the more we reach for it, the more stress I think we put on ourselves and pressure to try to create this perfectly balanced life. So the quote is that, and it's not really a quote, it's more of like a visual for you. It's like even a tightrope walker who's basically the epitome of balance needs to lift one foot to move forward. So the way that I interpret that and the way that I feel like that metaphor or that visual works for me is, instead of trying to be in balance, I think it's more about being fully present in whatever moment you're in. Like if I'm at work, I want to be fully present at work. If I'm at home, I want to be fully present at home. So for me, that's the, like when I lift my foot and I'm balancing just on one foot, this is where like the balance on that one foot is where all of my time and energy and focus needs to be, not this one up here that's hanging in the wind until it reaches the next one. So for me, that means to be more fully present. And I feel if I do that wherever I am in my life in that moment, that to me is the way that I want to live my life, as opposed to trying to perfectly balance a set of scales or juggle, like you were saying, right? I mean, juggle is just a constant battle. It's just, it doesn't feel good to me. Whereas, you know, just easily kind of cruising along and focusing where I want to be in that moment feels better to me. What's your thought on that?
I agree, because Lord knows I can't juggle 2 balls, let alone like 3 or 4.
Right?
They all drop.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, imagine that you're juggling and then all of a sudden somebody calls your name. Every single one of those balls is falling because now your attention is somewhere else. So why? So
it doesn't make sense. And you're right, be fully present in what you're doing. And they say, you know, for a successful marriage, it has to be 100-100, not 50-50.
Yes.
For a successful friendship, it has to be 100-100. Fully present.
Yep.
Like you can't go, oh, I'll wait for my friend to call me. I'll wait for my friend to text me. No, you have to text in the morning. How are you doing? You know, like it has to be reciprocal. In business, you can't go, oh, I'll wait for the stock market to come out to see how I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? If you're a publicly traded company, you have to invest in whatever you're doing fully and be all in. You know, you can't go, well, guess what? I'm going to dip my foot, my big toe in the business today and just see how the waters ripple.
Right.
You got to give something to get something. but it has to be fully present.
Yes.
And you have to do the work.
Yeah. The word that I love is intentional. It's one of my favorite words, right? To me, that kind of engulfs the whole, if I know what I want, right? So having that vision, that goal, that ideal, moment or life or day or whatever you want to, whatever you can focus on, right? I mean, some people, I have a friend who is planning out the next 10 years of her life because that's the way her brain works. Awesome. Go for it. But like somebody like me, I have a day timer and I only know what I'm doing today. If you were to say, what schedule, what have you got on your schedule for tomorrow? I'd be like, I don't know, because I'm not there yet. I'll deal with that before I go to bed tonight. I'll look at my day timer so I know what I'm doing. But until then, I'm right here, right now, right? And that's how I work. But I do know where my long-term goals, like where I want to go. So everything that hits that calendar is moving me towards it. So I like to live intentionally, but very in the moment, right? So when you were talking about just now, I'm thinking that, like you were talking about choices and decision and whatnot, might be a really good time for me to just really quickly kind of go over this decision matrix that you've been using that I shared with the group the other day. Is back to the whole idea of being intentional and knowing where you're headed and what you want. The way that I describe it is it's like a two axes. I don't know the right word. Yeah. So one is this line that goes this way towards your future, and whatever that is, whatever you want to call your future, for me, let's just say it would be like successful business or leaving my job or moving to Seychelles, or like whatever it is that I feel like is my long-term goal is along one axis, right? And then on the top, it's how I want to feel. So for me, it's joy, right? So my top axis is joy. So there's like my vision goal, and then there's my feelings goal, right? And then inside that is you've got these 4 quadrants, right? So 2 along the bottom on this axis, 2 that kind of go up the top on this axis. So you've got this quadrant of 4. And this is how you use the decision matrix. So when you're presented with a situation or a decision or an idea of something you want to do, you can run it through this matrix of, okay, so Tonya is now invited me to do Wellness Wednesdays with her on Wednesday. Where does that fall on my mission, my vision goal? Yeah, that's pretty high. That's like pretty high because I can see the potential for what this could become for us. And I see that as very high on my vision axis. So I would move that down towards the end. So it's in the far end quadrant. It also brings me a lot of joy to hang out with you every week. So it's also very high on my joy scale. So what that does is it actually puts me in this kind of top quadrant where it's like all the way over here and all the way to the top. That's the sweet spot, baby. When somebody presents you with an idea that hits that, it's a hell yes.
Hell yes.
However, if somebody presents you with an idea that's kitty corner to that, which brings you very little towards your vision, or very little on my joy scale, that's a hell no. So when you can, and then the other 2 become a little more thought required. Yes, it might bringing me closer to my vision, but it's not going to be a lot of fun. Do I really want to do this? Blah, blah. And it gives you a chance to make that intentional decision. Same thing with the other way. Something could bring me a whole ton of joy, but it isn't necessarily going to get me closer to my vision. Like if, Tonya says, hey, do you want to go, out for dinner and dancing? Yeah, hell yeah, I do. Because that sounds like a lot of fun. Is it going to get me closer to my vision for my business? No, but I still want just pure joy in my life too. So we can make that decision, right? So that is what this decision matrix that Tonya had sort of alluded to in the beginning. And the beauty of it is that it takes, it's visual for those people who are visual. You can write, to actually draw it out. It lets you step back from the emotion of the moment. It allows you to step back from any guilt associated with letting somebody down, because you can now explain it to them and say, look, I actually took some time and thought about this. I didn't just say no to you, or I didn't just say yes to you even, because sometimes you'll say yes to somebody, then you'll be like, shit, I shouldn't have done that. then you're not happy, and now there's resentment because you feel like maybe somebody caught you at a bad moment and you weren't able to make a good decision, like all that stuff. It takes all of that out because you are giving yourself the gift of a tool to help you make an intentional decision. I love it. I love it. It's one of my
I
favorite.
love it too. Like you've given some basic examples there,
Yeah.
but this decision matrix can be utilized for every area of your life.
You pick whatever you want on those axes, right?
Yes, like say you have a trip planned for 3 months down the road,
Mhm.
and say you're in treatment, like trigger point injections or physiotherapy, and you want to reach that goal where you can travel in a car. What tools do I need? What brace might I need for my back? How many stops do I need to make? Can my pain threshold, because the threshold we were talking about too, can my pain threshold handle a 3-hour trip? Can I talk to my physiotherapist about taking this trip? Do I have the funds to take this trip? Who am I going with? Will that cause me stress? Will it bring me joy? So this is where, for chronic pain, you would use this decision matrix. I'm really looking forward to this trip. But planning ahead with a decision matrix can allow you to run it through this tool and say, yes, I really want to go. So let's run it through this decision matrix and say, this is what I need to do to go. You can set up some realistic goals. You can see how it falls on this decision-making matrix, and you can plan it out appropriately to say, I've come to this decision. I've made this decision. Now I can set goals up and plan it appropriately with a solid yes or a solid no based on what's best for you without attaching guilt to that yes or no. And that's, oh, yes, that's the beauty of it, of taking everything into consideration and really making a thought out decision without emotion guiding your decision making.
Yes.
That's what I love about that matrix is that you can plan your life around that without having to get upset. It's really beautiful tool to use, and then you can start planning with a better solid feeling around it that does not have anything to do with so-and-so is going to be upset, this is that. You can do it logically in your prefrontal cortex rather than back here. Yeah, which is what amygdala. This is where I had to get out of, because I would always go back here with guilt, trauma. Who's going to be mad at me if I don't go? I don't want to let anyone down. No, you matter. Your pain matters. You have to make those decisions based on what's possible for you. Nothing's impossible, but you have to make it possible. And you have to have the tools to make it possible. Build your toolbox, and can't is not an option. Everything is possible with the right tools. And you have to make decisions from here, not here.
Yeah, and I love that, they say nothing is impossible, but to your point, maybe it's going to be very uncomfortable. Am I willing to put up with that for what I'm going to get out of it? Right? So you get to make that clear choice and know ahead of time. Like I love knowing ahead of time and kind of almost pre-planning for what could happen, so that when it happens, you're not surprised by it. It's not like you're willing it to happen or trying to manifest it, but let's just say something does happen and you're 3 hours into a trip and all of a sudden your leg cramps up or your hip or something happens, or you get a migraine or whatever. If you're prepared for the fact that something could potentially happen, chances are you've prepared for it, and it doesn't come at you as such a surprise that it throws the whole thing off. So then you don't end up acting emotionally in the moment. You're like, oh yeah, I kind of figured something like this might happen. It's okay. I just need to get out and move for 20 minutes, or can we find a bench where I can lay down, or I just need to stretch, or whatever it may be. But you're prepared for it so that when it happens, it's not a big deal anymore.
Exactly. I love that, because you can have a TENS machine, you could have an ice pack in the cooler, you could have one of those hot packs, crack it open and put the heat on your hip. you're already prepared. You've already made that decision and planned for those contingencies. Because as the world opens up, people are going to travel. We're getting back to our new normal, and people are going to want to travel. And you're going to want to live your best life, and it's your choice.
Mhm.
So plan for those and live. You live with pain, not pain living your life for you.
I like
So
that.
live with joy, choose joy. We are the joy and pain group. So live with joy, choose joy, pick your passion. I love that. We live with purpose, not just living in pain.
Yeah, like
So
when I first started this journey for myself, it was back in 2015. And for me, it wasn't about chronic pain, but it was about emotional pain. It was about not liking my life. It was about feeling out of control and feeling very reactive rather than proactive. Right. And I stumbled upon an incredible book by Jack Canfield called Success Principles. And that book 100% changed my life, because the very first principle in this book is take 100% responsibility for your life. So everything that Tonya and I have just been talking about, the pre-planning, using the decision makers, living intentionally, not trying to stay in balance, being in the moment, like all these things is how you actually take 100% responsibility for your life. It is the best decision I ever made. When I made when I listened to that, it hit me like a ton of bricks in a good way, not the bad ton of bricks. and it was a wake-up call for me. And I've been a completely different person ever since. And it started me on this journey to learn more and more about how we can, live our best life by whatever we think that looks like. Whatever we choose is what we get to have as our best life.
what was the name of that book, Jess?
Oh, Success Principles by Jack Canfield.
I'll post that in the
Sure.
in Joy and Pain.
Mm-hmm.
Success.
You can even find it, like when I first found it, I found the full 6-hour audio version on YouTube.
Really?
For free. I mean, I'm not trying to steal money away from Jack Canfield, but I think he's doing all right.
Yeah. He's the author of the Chicken Soup
for the Soul. Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'll post that in our Joy and Pain group as well.
Yeah.
But I like to read books, so I like to sit and totally shut off all media and read. Like, I like the feel of paper. I like, but sometimes if you're in your car, audiobooks are a good way to feed your mind too. So, that's a good way to engage. Definitely.
And podcasts.
And I listen to podcasts, especially Jessica's podcasts. So Jess, why don't you tell them where they can find your podcast as well?
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, that one's cool, but I'm actually really excited about this new one that I'm going to start.
Okay, do tell, you're glowing.
Yeah, so I'll tell you about this one. So the other one is called Ignited Entrepreneurs, and I started about 2 years ago, and I interview other entrepreneurs, which is awesome, super fun. It's like a great networking tool. I've learned a lot. I've met some amazing people, but I have just recently decided that I am not no longer, I'll probably still do it, but just not with the same fire. I've decided that I've grown as a person through the process, and I want to step out from behind promoting other people. I actually want to start sharing my message a lot more. And so yesterday, my amazing friend Anthony Hamilton and I were doing our mental magic, because this past Saturday when we normally do them, I had a migraine and I was flat out, and there was just no way I couldn't even move. There was no way I could show up for something like this. So we rescheduled it and we ended up doing it last night. And he said something, and it's so funny. You and I experience this all the time, where like we get together and it's like two minds just come together and they're just even more powerful. This is what tends to happen. Well, pretty much every single time Tonya and I get together. And we always say we should record our conversations. So, here we are recording our conversations. But it's funny because the same thing happens when Anthony and I get on and do these things. And he said something to me about, it's a quote by Socrates. and I'm probably not going to get it perfect, but it's an unexamined life is not a life worth living. And I went, boom, that is going to be the name of my podcast. It's going to be called the examined life, the examined life. I haven't decided A or the, but, and it's really just going to be me sharing what I'm learning through my lens, right? So like all these tools that Tonya and I have been just talking about, the more, because I'm a knowledge junkie and I love to take the information in and then let it just marinate in here for a little while. And then here you go. This is how I'm now reserving that as, Jessica's dish. It came in as this and I've put my secret special sauce on it and now I'm serving it as something different. So this is what I'm very excited about is now I'm still working on the first couple of subjects and how I want to present it, but I did work on my artwork today for the podcast. I'm very excited about it. So yeah.
So I love that, the examined life with Jessica Coulthard. I love that because, you and I are both knowledge junkies. And I love that because, like we started off this Zoom call on Wellness Wednesdays, it's about knowledge and wisdom is something that no one can take away from you.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely free to gain knowledge. It's powerful. Wisdom is powerful. Examining things in life is powerful.
Yes.
And it expands your mind. And when you gain all these tools in your little brag book of your mind, you're creating new neural pathways. And there's a lot of scientific research behind it. Norman Doidge, who is one of my favorite authors.
And I have that book too.
The Brain That Changes Itself.
Yeah.
As you create new neural pathways through neuroplasticity, you're creating new synapses in your brain. And it's been shown to, I don't know I'm not going to cite the exact papers because I'm a real nerd like that, but being an academic is that you're reducing your chances of Alzheimer's, dementia. The more you keep your brain active, it's lighting up those parts of your brain.
And they can see it happening on these functional MRIs. Like it is proven. It's not just theory.
No, exactly. Yeah. And it's the same thing with keeping your body active, and with nutrition, what you feed your body, feed your mind, be purposeful about that. Because they've shown through studies, even with energy medicine, with meditating, with mindfulness, if you are stressed, your blood actually coagulates. If you take the time to de-stress, like if you're doing a joyful activity, if you're taking the time to engage in something that brings you joy and peace, your blood flows better through your body. So if you enjoy learning, your blood is flowing better. And they can show it scientifically now through meditation, mindfulness, taking the time to engage in activities that bring you joy, your blood flows better. And they've taken blood tests on the first month, and then 3 weeks, 6 weeks later, your blood is not coagulating, prevents heart attacks, prevents strokes. It's good for you to engage in activities like this.
Mm-hmm.
Your health becomes better.
Love it. Love it.
And so you're amazing for teaching this. You're amazing for engaging it. I can't wait to listen to your new podcasts and learn all about the things you learn. So and I'd love to see you do documentaries too.
Oh, I forgot about that. You do that one. You do the documentaries, woman.
I'm going to interview you. Hello.
Fine.
I'm going to hold the camera. So, Jess, tell us about what you've examined lately.
Ooh, yes.
Ooh,
yeah. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited about it.
I'm so excited for you. And, like you said, when you and Anthony Hamilton get together, that mental magic happens. And the things that come out of these conversations is beautiful. Mm-hmm. So I want people to join in on these conversations because it's not just about pain. We all have pain when we're not living in our purpose,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And let's stop the suffering and live our best lives.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that's for me, that really is what this is about. Like, joy to me is when I found out what I wanted my life to be about. Like, joy is very much an umbrella term for me. It's not specific. For me, joy is the feeling I want, but I feel it when I'm doing things that fulfill me, right? When I'm giving back, when I'm having these incredible conversations with you, or doing the mental magic with Anthony, or, you know, when we're done here, we go over to IG Live and we giggle and stuff. Like, that is pure bliss for me, but it's also fulfilling what I feel is my purpose on this earth, my soul's journey, right? It's part of what I'm supposed to do here. And that's what, when you figure out what that is for you, whatever that is, it's like nobody decides that for you. That is up to you. That is the work you have to do to figure that out. Tonya and I can help you with that, wink wink. But if that's your work to do, once you figure that out, your life will change. It'll be unrecognizable. It's so powerful and yet so freaking simple. You just have to do it.
Everyone has a gift. We just need to find it and unwrap it for you. For me, it's music. For me, it's talking to people and reading. It's so evident because you could do it for hours and hours.
And smiling too much.
I smile till my cheeks hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, sometimes it hurts so much, but I can't change who I am, nor do I want to.
No.
When I'm around you, Jess, I smile.
Aw, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. When I'm living in my purpose, I smile.
Yeah.
I can't help it. When I'm showing up for others, I smile. When people tell me, thank you for making me feel better today, I smile because I know spiritually, like, I don't try to tell people what to believe, nor do I tell them that their belief system is wrong. But I believe there's something out there that makes my heart smile. So what I mean by that, you know, is spiritually, I'd be naive to think we're the only ones in the universe. But if aliens land on my house, I'm going to scream. I might not smile. I'm going to scream. Okay. But I'm just saying, aliens attack. But I didn't actually see that movie, but weird. But at the same time, I'm just like, I was born to want to attain knowledge. From a young age, I was sitting in an oak tree reading while the other kids were playing. That's me. I was the absent-minded professor, if any of you know who that is. From a young age, I love learning, I love sharing, and I love singing. That's me. I called Jess today and sang to her at work.
You did too.
I have to sing. And when my voice was taken away, I did everything to get it back.
See, and that's the power of purpose. It gives you that motivation. It lights that fire inside of you to fight for something.
Yeah. And that's what I want for everyone. And I know that's what you want for everyone too. And I'm not going to stop until I know that everyone that I've reached, and I know that everyone you can reach through your podcasts, through healthy habits, lifestyle challenges, through business challenges. I don't care if people don't want us to share that message with them. We might not be everyone's people. But the message I want to send.
I'm sure we're not, and that is awesome.
That is awesome. But find your people.
Yep.
Find your people that light a fire under your ass to get you to that happy place where your soul says, I'm comfortable here. That's the message I want to send. I might not be your smiley people. I might irritate the shit out of you. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Can't imagine it, but all right.
Okay.
All right. Be that way then.
Be that way then. But that's okay. Because I'm okay with that, because I'm okay with me.
Yeah.
because I've found my people in Jess. She's my people. And together we can be a whole lot of people's people.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, Tonya, you spend a lot of time really like pumping up the stuff that I'm doing. But I mean, you are the woman who knows what chronic pain is like. You know what it's like to come back from that. You know the work, but you also have the tools, right? So this is us here sharing, what we think can help you. But back to the whole point, if you are just here and you're just listening to us, cool. That's one level. But if you actually want to take some control and you actually want to step into how can I live my best life, even though I am struggling with chronic pain, Tonya's your girl. She's done it. She knows what it takes. She knows how to do it. She knows how to motivate you. She knows how to help you find your motivation. She'll be there to support you. This is what she does. And she's not just preaching it. She's lived it. So, this is the sort of thing is, yes, of course, we want you to come and we want you to listen. We want you to, engage with us. But if you are actually serious about fuck this shit, I've had enough. I've been doing it this way on my own for so long. And, I'm not getting where I want to go. Then it's time. It's time to step up and ask for help. And that's what Tonya can do for you. If you are one of those people who, really wants to see what they can do to start to feel better, right? I mean, better is a subjective term, but better is still better
better today than you were yesterday.
Right? Exactly. That whole who you want to compete with, we compete with yourself. And how can I take some control over my life? How can I make some different decisions, some, more thought out decisions to actually start to move towards fact where I can look back on, a week from now and say, holy shit, I actually feel better today than I did then. Right? Can you imagine? Like, really, honestly, put yourself in the thought of what would I do? What would my life be like if next week or next month or next year, I actually felt better? Well, how different would your life be? Well, take a chance, find out. Give her a call.
Thank you. Thank you, Jess, for that. Because I do promote Jess a lot because her NLP techniques and her coaching of me elevated me to the point where I could really get out of a lot of my mindset, and NLP does that for you. Pain management education and the tools that you need to manage your chronic pain. Absolutely, I can do that for you. I'm a life coach and a pain educator, and I can help you examine your environment and many other things from mindfulness strategies, EFT, and getting you out of that stuckness in your chronic pain. I'm also, I can do fitness assessments, a lot of different things, and put you in touch with that. Jess and I working together with you is an excellent tool. We both can coach you on NLP strategies, pain management, environmental strategies, looking at your environment and how it contributes to your pain. Together, we are a power team. I can be reached at Tonya@guidedpathwellness.com. And also you can visit my website at www.guidedpathwellness.com or come on Wellness Wednesdays or visit us on the Joy and Pain group. I like to work together with Jess because our skill set really complements one another to help you as a total package. So the next time Healthy Habits Lifestyle Challenge comes around, the 90 days immersive really is benefiting me, even though I'm a coach, because doing it together as a group makes a huge difference. You have support, you have community, and we learn together. That part, the reason I promote it so much is because you're supported. You're not alone. You have the skill set of both Jessica and I together. Yes, I'm a chronic pain patient. Yes, I'm a pain educator. We both have skills to bring the total package. That's why I love working together. Where I have skills in one area, she has skills in another. It's magic, both mind, body, and soul. So that's why we promote each other. We're not in competition. You are in competition with your future self. It's all about you and your health journey to make you the best you can be with joy and pain. So for tonight, any last words, Jess?
Nope, love it. Just so, I'm so glad, this year has been it's only the middle of March and my life has changed so much from, the work that you and I are starting to do together. And, it's really just about being open to opportunities, right? And I think for me, that's what 2022 is really all about, is finally being open to all of the opportunities that have just been sitting there waiting for me, including this. You and I have been threatening to do this for a while, right? I know, right?
Don't make me be joyful.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny though, because I think you get to a point where you're just ready, right? Like I think you and I were still kind of exploring, what our messages were, how we wanted to show up. We were supporting each other. And then it was like, finally, it's like, why are we waiting? This is like, we figured it out. Let's do it. And I think that's the same for, for people that are listening to us that are like, you know what, at what point are you going to be ready? You're probably more ready now than you even realize to either chase your dream or to get the help you need, or both, or whatever it is that you've been tossing around and feeling like a little off about, or I would really love to fix this or whatever, just take that leap. That's what we've done. We didn't know when we stepped into this what it was going to turn into. And I love how it's evolving. And that's the fun of life, right? Is stepping into something and watching how it evolves. So, just if you feel even the littlest little nudge that, you might be ready for something new, for something better, start joining us. Come join us in the Joy and Pain group on Facebook, or come check us out on IG Live. So both Guided Path Wellness on IG Live and Bring the Joy Girl. We go live on Wednesdays after our Zoom calls, and you can come and join us. We may even invite you to join us in the conversation. Come on up. So, we're not hiding. You can find us if you want us. So put the hand out. Our hands are stretched out. Just come on, come and take it.
Because have a conversation about what it is you're looking for.
Yeah, this is free. Just come hang out with us. Who knows what'll happen, right?
Exactly. Because we are really not trying to sell you anything. It's not about sales. Yeah. It's about you and being your best self.
Yeah.
And showing up for yourself in what matters. Do you know? But if we invest our time, we need you to invest in you. That's what it's about, because it means nothing if you're not going to do the work.
Yeah. It's an exchange of energies as well.
It is.
Right? Like when you show up to something and you haven't invested in it, even if it's a small amount, the energy is not the same. The investment energy is different. And I just, even if you have to pay $10 for something as opposed to free, you will probably notice that you will get way more out of it because of that energy exchange. That's all money is. It's just energy. So.
It is. And I honestly believe when you show up for something and you're investing in you, it matters to you and you're committed. Mm-hmm. And that is important. We believe in you, but we need you to believe in you more than you do.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. More than we do, I mean. So we'll see you over on IG Live. Give me 5 minutes because I'm going to be from the car. I'm on the way to the studio.
Okay.
So, okay.
Okay.
So see you in a minute. Bye for now. Joy and pain.